Hi everybody, today we're going to learn how to identify and find the terms in a geometric sequence. Okay, so let's start with the do now. Find the 25th term of the following sequence using the formula. Okay, so going from 15 to 10, that would be minus 5, minus 5, minus 5, minus 5. So this is arithmetic here. We're looking for the 25th term. So a sub 25 equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. So a sub 25 equals, a sub 1, remember, stands for the first term, which is 15. N, we're looking for the 25th term, so n is equal to 25. And the common difference is negative 5. Work this out here, and we get 24 times negative 5. 24 times negative 5. I'm just plugging this into the calc really quickly. Should give us negative 120. And then, so 15 plus a negative 120 minus, so hit answer. Okay, and we get negative 105. Okay. Let's take a look here. It says, is there a common difference to this sequence? So going from 1 to 2, that would add 1. 2 to 4, that would add not 1. So this is not, and notice as you go on, it's not going to, we're not going to have common difference. So let's talk about a common ratio, or if there's something we can multiply by in order to get to the next number. So 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And 8 times 2 is 16. So here, instead of adding, we are multiplying. So we don't have a common difference, but we do have a common ratio of 2. Common ratio of 2. Okay. When we have a common ratio as opposed to a common difference, that's called a geometric sequence. All right, a sequence in which each term after the first is found by multiplying the previous term by a constant value called the common ratio. Okay, so just like the example that we saw. Let's take a look at another sequence and find the common ratio. So what do you think it is here? Let's start by taking the first two numbers, 4 and 12. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 3 is 36. 36 times 3 is 108. 108 times 3 is 324. And that's your common ratio. Okay, so now let's take a look here. We have a geometric sequence. They're asking us to find the next 3 terms. So you have here 2 times what gives you 8? 2 times 4. Okay, that's our common difference. So 128 times 4. Okay, to find the next term, 128 times, 128 times 4 is 256. We have to find the next 3 terms. Okay, 256 times 4 is 1024. And then multiply that by 4 again, and we get 4096. Okay, and there are your next 3 terms. Take a look here now. We're going from 16 to 4. Now, the thing is with the ratios, you always want to write it in terms of what you're multiplying by to get to the next number. You don't really ever want to think of it as division. So what that means is when the numbers are getting smaller, instead of dividing, we're going to be multiplying by fractions. So 16 times what gives us 4? 16 times 1/4. Okay, again, it's the same thing as if we divided by 4. If we divided 16 by 4, we would get 4. Dividing by 4 and multiplying by 1/4 is the same thing. Okay, 4 times 1/4. 4 times, that doesn't look right now. 4 times 1/4 would give us 1. There should be a 1 in there. And then 1 times 1/4 would give you 1/4. 1/4 times 1/4 would give you 1/16. Okay, so the common ratio is 1/4. Okay, next one here. So we're going from 6 to -3. That means we're multiplying by a -1/2. Okay, and then -3 times -1/2 brings us back to the positive of +3/2. +3/2 times -1/2 gives us -9/4. All right, let's take a look at the formula. Because just like arithmetic sequence, we have a formula for geometric sequence as well, which makes it a whole lot easier for us. Here they're asking us for the 10th term of the sequence. Okay, this is the formula, and it's very simple. You have the first term, okay, and it's multiplied by the ratio raised to a power, okay? So here we're looking for the 10th term. We're going to pop in the first term. We need to know what the ratio is. 4 times 3 is 12, so the ratio is 3. And remember, n stands for the term that we're looking for, so it's 10 minus 1, okay? Now, the first thing we need to do, and this is a lot of where the errors are made, a lot of people take 4 and 3 and multiply them first to get 12, and then they raise it to a power. You can't do that. Make sure you are working out 10 minus 1, which gives you 9. So we want to work out 3 to the 9th power first, and then multiply by 4. Okay, so again, just if you're careful and plug this into GeoGebra, it really takes the guesswork out of everything for you. It'll do it all for you. I'm just using the calculator. I'm going to raise 3 to the 9th power, which is 19,683. And then I'm multiplying that by 4. So 4 times, I'm just going to write this out for the purpose of you being able to refer back to it. Okay, multiply that times 4, and we get 78,732. And that's your answer. Okay. All right. So I just worked these out for you already, and I'll go through explaining them just to save some time on the video because they've been getting a little bit harder to upload the longer they are. Find the common ratio for the sequence. To get from one number to the next, we are multiplying by -1/2 here in number 6. Okay. Find the formula for the nth term. So we have the formula set up over here, and we're just plugging in what we need. We're plugging in the ratio. We're plugging in the first term. Okay, so that's all we need for the equation. And then down here, we're working the equation out to find, and using that to find the 10th term. And the 10th term is 3/256. All right. Next one here. Mr. Carlson suffers from allergies. When allergy season arrives, his doctor recommends that he take 300 milligrams of his medication the first day and decrease the dosage by 1/2 each day for 1 week. Write a formula to represent the nth term of the sequence. Okay, what I did here initially, I wrote out all of the 7 terms. So the first one we're starting with, he starts day 1, 300 milligrams of his medication. And if he's going down, if it's decreasing by 1/2 each day, this is what we wind up with for each day, down to the 7th day, okay? Now they want us to come up with the formula though. So A sub n equals 300 times 1/2 to the n minus 1. Then we can use that formula, okay? You're just going to replace n with 7. So we have 1/2 to the 6th power. Multiply that by 300, and we get the same answer that we have here where we worked it out by hand. Okay. All right, determine if the following sequences are arithmetic, geometric, or neither. So it is possible to have sequences that are neither arithmetic nor geometric. Okay, if you're not finding that you have to add the same number to each term to get to the next one, or there's no common ratio, then it's neither. Okay, the first one here, we're adding -2 to get to each next term. That's arithmetic. The second example is neither. Notice for the first two, you can add 4, but after that, it doesn't work. And you can't multiply by anything to get to each term. So it's neither for that one. The third one is geometric because we're multiplying each term by 1/2. Okay. And this is everything worked out for the exit ticket. The terms of the sequence are 12, 9, 6, and 3. Notice that because we have a common difference, that makes it an arithmetic sequence. We have the explicit formula here. And when we rewrite that when they want us to write an explicit formula, they want us to make it specific to the sequence that we have, which is how we write it out here. Okay, now the recursive is just very simply the previous term being, you're taking the previous term and you're adding the difference to it to get to the next term. So a sub 1 is equal to 12, and you always have to state the first term. When it comes to recursive, you always have to state the first term. Just think about it here is in the explicit, you always state the first term as well. So you need to have that in the recursive to know where you're starting. A sub n equals a sub n minus 1 minus 3. And to find the 15th term, it's much easier to use the explicit than the recursive, because if it's recursive, we've got to start all the way from the first term, go all the way up to the 15th term. Just going to be a whole lot easier if we use the explicit formula and plug in the values that we need. When you do that, you get an answer of -30. Okay, I hope you found this video helpful, guys, and have a great